Hello everyone, I hope that you can hear us. We will start the webinar in just a couple of minutes so everyone can have time to join. Perfect, thank you, Lovisa.
Is the sound working okay, or?
Write in the chat so we know that the sound is working. At least Lovisa wrote yes, hopefully. Ah, perfect.
Good.
Thank you, Anders. You are amazing as well. So again, we'll start in just a couple of minutes to make sure that everyone can join. So just grab a coffee and be back very soon. So we'll start in about 1 minute, so everyone has the chance to join. Perfect. So I think that we can start.
Yeah.
Time for rock and roll. I know that you got your workout t-shirt on, so it's going to be sweaty today. I promise you that. But great. So welcome everyone to this webinar. Today we'll talk about the GetAccept and Salesforce integration and how you can use both of the tools to make your life in the CRM easier, to maximize your sale, and to really, basically get the most out of your CRM investment as possible. But before we jump into the agenda, we can just briefly introduce ourselves. My name it's Adam times 2 today. So my name is Adam Venov. I've been with GetAccept for 4 years almost, so since the beginning of the company, and I've had various roles within sales, but is now running sales operations here at GetAccept. So which is basically about how can you reduce friction in the sales process in the sales team, and that's why CRM and processes lies very warm to my heart.
My name is also Adam. I'm head of product at GetAccept, and I'm responsible for all our integrations, operations, what we strategically do in the platform, what we prioritize, and so on. And I've been working quite a lot with the Salesforce integration upon and also after the release to AppExchange.
Cool. So what will we talk about today? So first off, I know that we have a lot of existing customers as well, but we also have a few that maybe aren't not that familiar with GetAccept as well. So we give you a short introduction to what we do here at GetAccept. Then we'll go into the brand new integration. So what's the biggest difference between the old integration that we had and the new one that is now released in the AppExchange? Adam will provide you with a demo of the integration as well. So what's new and how does the workflow look like in general? Summary pricing, how to get started, and then we'll end with a question and answer. So if you have any questions at all, just write them here in the chat and we'll try to answer them in the end of this session. Perfect. But before we jump into all the goodies with the integration, just want to briefly give you a short introduction to GetAccept. And we usually say that GetAccept is the all-in-one sales platform where video, live chat, document tracking, and e-signature comes together to simplify the life of every sales team. So basically, GetAccept is a tool that you can use during the full sales process, from the very early, where you send your different types of sales collaterals. It could be a pre-meeting agenda. It could be after a meeting where you send a summary, proposals, contracts with signature, and also contract management. So we cover the full sales cycle, where basically you can store all of your documents also in GetAccept. So it's a tool to be personal, to engage in a good way, and to really maximize your sales outcomes. So that was just a quick intro, and you can look at the website for more. But we are super excited to finally present the brand new Salesforce integration that I know Adam and the team have been working a lot with over the years. And we have been receiving a lot of requests from our existing customers that are using Salesforce and what types of features that they would like to have. And we have been listening very, very carefully on them, and then built the new integration really based on that as well. And also that is now available in the AppExchange, which is truly awesome. The new release is built for Lightning, so you can basically use it in Lightning. And if you're using Classic today, I'm pretty sure that you're moving towards Lightning in the long run as well. But it's built for Lightning.
It's also good to note there that it's actually possible to install in Classic. We do not recommend it, but it's possible to add in Classic also. But it's optimized and built for Lightning.
Exactly. And I know that a lot of you Salesforce customers have a lot of customizable workflows as well, and we would like to support that. So you can build customizable workflows with GetAccept, with Salesforce to really be a part of your full sales process. And of course, manage your full sales process. You can send all of your sales collaterals directly to the CRM, and you can also use Salesforce data that Adam will show you later in how you can populate different types of fields into your documents. But what's the new with the new integration? What's different and what have we added to the new one? It's quite a lot. But if you look at the old integration, you could send documents, you can activate reminders to really engage your prospects in a good way. You can send SMS to quickly get a sign on the mobile phone. And you can upload video directly from your mobile app. Simply just record a video on the phone, and then you can add that to the document. And that sign will listen to you guys. And with the brand new Salesforce integration, we have added a few product features that are quite of interest to you. The first one is the possibility to use pre-recorded videos. And we have a lot of customers that would like to use maybe general videos, but still personalized in some ways that they can reuse over and over again. Signed documents are now stored in files, which we assume that a lot of you guys are using as well. So you can, once the document is signed, they're then automatically stored in files.
It might be good to note here also that signed documents are stored in files, which is the standard object now in Salesforce, but it's also shown in attachments and notes, although it's centrally stored in files.
Exactly. So all of the old features are there as well. We have looked at improvement in terms of performance of the document status update, and also give it a bit of a new user experience and interface as well, which is basically where you can see if it has been reviewed, signed, sent, etc. You can now also select different signing orders directly in Salesforce before sending the documents. So meaning, should it go to person X before it goes to person Z? And you can also then select if you're going to be a signer, recipient, or just an approver. Also, it's installable on any type of object. So you can choose what object you would like to install the integration on.
And this is, of course, something that a lot of clients has requested, to be able to customize their Salesforce, or they have a very customized Salesforce environment, but they also want to implement GetAccept on a deal, on an opportunity, and so on. And also, of course, to be able to fetch variables from these objects and related objects.
Exactly, and that's the next feature, that you can fetch dynamic variables from both the object that you're working from, let's say the opportunity, but also related object to the opportunity, which could be, in this case, a company, for example. So you can use that and populate Salesforce data to your templates. Again, it's built for Lightning from scratch, and it's now available in the AppExchange, which we'll talk about later.
And the good thing compared to the old one, that it's, I know for some clients, maybe don't see the difference, but that it's in AppExchange or not. But the big thing here is when we're continuously updating the platform, you won't have to reinstall the package as you had to do before with the old integration.
Great, that's very good. Cool. So why should you use GetAccept integrated into your Salesforce environment? We'll say the first one, of course, that if you have invested in a CRM, usually it's kind of a big investment. You have customized a lot. So it's really important to get the most out of your Salesforce and CRM investment in general. And we do not only provide e-signatures. That's what people usually think, but it's also about how can you personalize, how can you engage the prospects and customers with live chat, with video, throughout the full sales process, and send all your types of sales collateral directly from Salesforce, and then gain better insights with document tracking. So for looking at the document.
And a pretty good example of this is maybe you have a client where you initially send a presentation of your company, then you send a quote maybe, and then you send the final contract. And you will have all these 3 documents stored at the same or shown at the same object in Salesforce. So you can see as a manager maybe that, yeah, we've sent the presentation, we've sent the quote, and they have viewed the offer, for example.
Exactly. And then again, utilize data and insights directly in Salesforce, as Adam mentioned here. And we have a few customers that are using the integration as of today. And we have a couple of quotes here that we'd like to showcase. The first one is from Daniel at Tele2, who are using GetAccept and Salesforce as well, saying that it's easy to work with and it's easy for the customer to understand. And I really enjoy the customer part there, that it's easier for the customer to understand and sign the documents and approve them as well. We have Amber from Sixter, email signature company. Being able to use GetAccept in every facet of sales and HR process has allowed our team to get more creative with the things that they are sending to people. So they're using GetAccept not only for sales, but also for HR, and really trying to combine them in a good way.
I think Sixter is a super good example also about a bit more advanced usage of GetAccept, where they're using merge variables and they're using Google Doc templates to make it fully customized.
So we're super happy that they were happy, and looking forward to hearing more from you guys to listen to this webinar as well. Cool. So time for the demo.
Yes. So I'm going to show you basically the standard workflow of sending out a proposal from Salesforce via GetAccept. So when you first have installed the object in, on any object, when you've installed integration on any object, you can see, you will see it, and it will of course adjust according to the ratio where it's installed. So if it's installed on a sidebar, it will adjust automatically. You will have the 2 options here to either send a document for signing, which is the most common usage, of course, but it's also possible to send for tracking. And a common case here would be, for example, for presentations or a quote maybe that is not supposed to be signed, but you want to track it, you want to see if someone has forwarded or any type of action that can help you in your sales process.
And usually, I think one good example there is it's research from LinkedIn saying that it's about 7 stakeholders in a B2B deal in general. So just being able to quite early in the sales process send your document with tracking allows you to quickly identify who should I target, who is interested of what in the document, etc. So I think that's super interesting.
And as you can see on the bottom here, you can see related documents. And here we will store and track all the documents you have sent from this object. So if it's from an opportunity or a contact, as in this case, or account, you will see all the documents sent for this. If you are using, for example, multiple entities, we will filter based on the entity you're currently using. So as you can see here, we're on the GetAccept demo entity, but if you change entity, you will see the documents related to this entity. And the reason why we have this filter is basically because some users are not supposed to be able to access, for example, HR documents from an HR entity and so on.
So entities are used to be able to separate different teams or
Yeah, that's a good question. The entity is something we're using in the GetAccept lingo, but an entity is basically an account in GetAccept, and entities can be linked together. For example, a common usage is you have one entity for HR documents, but you can also separate entities by, for example, countries. You have one entity for the Swedish branch of a company and so on. And this is possible to switch you can switch between entities in the GetAccept integration, but you can also just see if you have access to the entity, you can see the documents stored on that entity. Yes. So we're going to move on to the next step. The second step here, similar to other integrations, but also in the standalone platform, is you can choose recipients. We've tried to be as thorough as possible with this, so it's possible to add basically any recipient here. So you can add a recipient from other related cards, or also if you have users in the Salesforce integration, for example, you have a colleague that you want to add as a recipient of the document. This might be an internal signer or just a viewer, for example. You will be able to add that.
So mainly, like if you have let's say that you have a document or contract of 200K, and then that needs to go internally first.
Yeah,
that's the usage.
Yes, and the most common scenario here, as I will show in the next screen, is that you have, for example, a template where you have roles set up, where you have maybe the first role is an internal signer, and I will come to that. Yes. We're filtering here on as I said before, all contacts within the CRM. So it should be fairly simple to find and add the contacts here. Next step, you're selecting either a template. It's possible to choose different types here. We are showing a thumbnail of the templates, and of course you can have multiple templates and so on here, and it's possible to search for the templates. And it's, of course, as you can see here, also you can see the related files. So we're also adding the related files here. So for example, you have a presentation that you want to add to your already or to your quote or to your final offer. You want to add the presentation also, because maybe you've added a new recipient that hasn't seen the first presentation. It's possible to do that also.
Could you maybe explain the difference between a GetAccept template and a Salesforce template, for example, because that's two different things.
Yeah. So the GetAccept template is the template platform where we have integrated in GetAccept, where you can basically add a template. A template could be a document. For example, it could be a static document, but it could also be, for example, a Google Doc integrated document where you can dynamically add or change the content of the document. So it's pretty common, as in the case with Sigster, that you have a Google Doc template where you have added maybe some dynamic fields from Salesforce, but you also have some text that you want to be able to inline edit and customize. So they could have, for example, a Google Doc template here that they select, but it's also possible then to add, for example, dynamic variables on top of that. And compared to the Salesforce quotes, which is also used quite commonly, where you have generated a PDF, which is similar to the GetAccept template, fetching variables from Salesforce, but it's not using the same background. So it's not using the GetAccept templates here. But it's, of course, possible to also use the quotes generated from Salesforce. And if you have a template, if you selected a template from GetAccept, we have something called, of course, we have the fields, which are the fields in GetAccept. And these could either be fields from GetAccept, but it could also be, of course, and most commonly used fields from the CRM system. So you don't want to fill in the details of the recipients in the contract again, or you don't want to fill out these details.
What would you say is the most common things to populate from Salesforce to the template?
The most, I would say, it's company details is the most common case. Company details, it might be values also in the document. It could be special terms and conditions. It could also be, in some cases, I've seen internal notes, but any type of information that you already have and you don't want to input it again, it is normally used in a template, for example. In templates, we also have something called roles, and roles is basically a placeholder role for a template, which could be, for example, you have an internal role of internal signer, for example. But in case of maybe HR contracts, you want to also have an HR person has to approve this employee, for example, before it's finally signed. And that's we have both fields and roles connected at the same page here. When you have selected, for example, a template from GetAccept, you will get the option to assign these. So in this particular example, we have 3 roles in this template. So we have one approver, which is in this example the in signing order. So this means basically that the first role will go to the first approver, and until the approver has approved the document, it won't go to recipient 2 and 3. So here we have assigned Steve Boy, which is a colleague of ours, as the approver. So he will first receive this template and document. And when he has approved the document, it will go to Philip Axtelius, which is also a colleague. And then finally, we have the buyer, which is our French colleague, Anne-Charlotte. So in the previous step, we selected the recipient, and here we assign the recipients to the roles. And as you can see underneath there, we have also collected some information from the CRM system. As you can see, the recipient full name and recipient company, these are variables fetched from GetAccept. That is why they are not populated here, as you can only see the GetAccept values here. But as you can see, for these type of variables underneath, the Spotify, for example, and the address, street address, it's fetched from the account, as you can see also from the text field name here. For this, so now we've added all the contacts, we've assigned the roles, and we've also shown the fields. I can just go back here. It's possible also, of course, this is quite common that you want to confirm all the details before you send it out, and we have, of course, a preview button here. It's also possible to do this in a later state, but it's possible to preview the PDF here.
And that is basically the experience as their recipient.
Well, not exactly. It's experience. It's actually the PDF. It's a preview of the PDF, and it's not actually the PDF we're showing on the signing page. It's basically an image of the PDF, but the experience, the document will look.
Yeah, so you get the document.
Yes, you get the document. But it's a good question. The next step, we're adding the opportunity, of course, to compose a message. So you want to have a customized message. The default is, of course, we're fetching the default message of the entity. So if it's on a certain language and so on, we will, of course, fetch that. And it's possible to change this by default. In this message, you can see we're using some merge variables. So we're using the sender first name, for example. And this is so in order to customize the message to all the different recipients. So we will have a more personal tone to all recipients. As you can see here, hi, recipient first name. This will be exchanged to the recipient's actual name. But you can use a lot more of these type of variables if you want to customize and personalize the email better. We're also fetching the value based from which object it's added on.
So an opportunity, for example.
For example, if you have value for the opportunity, this will be fetched also. And we're fetching the expiry date. It's the default expiry date of the entity, dependent on when it's sent. We also have the option here to, of course, rename your document. In this particular example, we have the template name, but you can, of course, change this. And we add the options to send sort reminders or send link by SMS. And in this example, we've added a video of Vilma from the video library. So you will be able to fetch from the video library also.
And that is really something that you guys that are listening here should take into consideration, both in terms of how you can engage your prospect with reminders, with SMS, etc., to be a top of mind, but also how we can utilize video now, especially in these uncertain times when we are a bit more remote. So how can you use video to, even be in that room? It almost feels like that, and be personal and explain your offer, a presentation or contract in a more personal way. So that's something that we strongly recommend.
Yeah, and it's also something, I was, before I started GetAccept, as you might know, because we were actually working together before, both of us started GetAccept, not at the same company though, is that, often the feeling clients or our customers are saying, video, it's cool, but it's not for me. But we can see, like, when it comes to close rates and when it comes to personalization, and especially when we get feedback from the clients, it's really something they always, they of course talk about the chat, but they also very much like the videos, because it makes it more personal and it makes the experience a lot more personal, especially now with Corona. You're not seeing anyone except your friends or maybe just your family, and it really helps us. And we've seen hotel clients saying to us right now that GetAccept is the most important tool because we can't meet. And using video is really something that I recommend, and you should also.
And I think that's a very good example on how you can utilize the video, because the hotel customers are using it in different ways. It could be, first off, that they have a general video because they send a lot of proposals and offers, but it's still personalized. They have one for each. Or it could be like they're showing something in the conference room, just to because they can't be there right now.
Yeah, and this is also something, video is growing, as you might know. Video is growing everywhere, and we will do a lot more with video moving forward in the GetAccept platform also. Yes. And in the final step when sending out, or potentially final step, I will come to that also, you will get the details of what you're sending out. So will you have reminders? Who are the recipient here? What's the name, and so on. So it's a final confirmation. So like, oh, now I have to go back. The value is incorrect, for example. So, and you can see the signers here also, or recipients, basically. Not all are signers, or in this case, all are signers, but they could also have different roles. But in some cases, as I mentioned before, it might be that you want to change the template. You want to change the content on the template. For example, if you have a Google Doc template or our upcoming native text editor integration, you want to change the content of the contract or presentation. Then you have the option here also to open in GetAccept. And it doesn't matter if you go through here and send it directly. Or if you open it in GetAccept, you will still get the tracking in Salesforce, and that's important to know. So if you've started and initiated the process here in the Salesforce integration, you will also be able to track it on the object here if you open it in GetAccept, for example.
Could you just briefly explain what happens if you click on opening GetAccept?
If you in opening GetAccept, it will take a few seconds before we generate the document. But when it's done, you will be sent in a new tab to GetAccept to be able to edit. So let's say you want to have, in some cases we want to add EID identification of one of the recipients, for example, or we want to add it on everyone. You can of course set this on a template level, but in some cases you want to adjust this, and we can't have the full experience in the integration because that would basically be building a new platform for Salesforce. But you want to add some changes. But the most common case here could be you want to add or you want to change the content of the document.
So if you click there, you can basically get access to all of the functions in GetAccept, but still get the goodies back into Salesforce.
Exactly. So you will get the status updates. You will be able to see what happens with the document, and so on. And you can also, when you've sent out this document, now we don't have this is not the document that is sent out from this screenshot, but you will be able to open it in GetAccept directly from the integration. And you will also be able to recall the document. So let's say, oh, I have to something is terribly wrong with the document. We have the wrong signers. Everything is wrong with the signing order. You will be able to recall this without entering GetAccept also. Yes. And so what happens then when you've finally gotten a signature on your document? A lot of clients, as we talked about earlier, want to automate this process, for example. And that could be, as the case here, when a document is signed, what should happen in Salesforce. And I know a lot of clients are using these type of processes to automate, like, yeah, we have this and this and this will happen when a document is signed. But it can also be used, for example, let's say you're using GetAccept to send presentations. So you sent a presentation through GetAccept, and you want to have a process built on when this presentation is used. So then you can use this automation to, let's say, when the document is reviewed and it hasn't been signed for 2 days, then you can add automation in Salesforce. Maybe you want to add a task to the seller, you want to have some kind of automation. We of course have the automation built in GetAccept for the standard automation, but if you want to do more custom automation, you want to add a different process and so on, you can do this automatically in Salesforce. This was possible to do before also. It's good to know that it's not new for this integration, but it's a bit simpler to do because we're actually fetching the variables you can use, so you don't have to. But it's super good to use if you want to automate your process. Cool. Yes. Yeah. Oh.
The automation guy. Yeah, and you can also, of course, once the recipient has, opened, reviewed, or signed the document, you will get notifications directly in your email, but also directly in your mobile phone. And this is something that is super powerful as a sales reps to have, because then you will know who is watching the document, what are they looking at, when are they looking at this, so you can have the perfect timing to also follow up. So if you haven't downloaded the app today, you should do that as soon as possible.
Yes, and this slide is for showing what happens with the document after it is signed. If you've selected this on the configuration page, you can choose if it's supposed to be uploaded to the CRM system or not. We have some clients that are, they don't want to use the storage of Salesforce, maybe because of cost, because they have a lot of documents, they're sending presentations and so on, and they might be huge in some cases. But it can also be a matter of access, that we have sellers that have access to these type of documents, and they should not have it. So you have the option to not uploading and just keeping GetAccept with all the access rights limited to GetAccept. But if you've checked this box on the configuration page, signed documents will automatically be uploaded to the object where it was sent from. So as you can see here, and as I mentioned before, it's shown in notes and attachments in this case, but it's stored in the files object. Yes.
Cool. So perfect. Thank you for the great demo. I learned a lot more than I knew already. But we'll do a short summary of what we have been talking about. And again, if you have any questions, we will soon have a question and answer. So then you can write them now in the chat. But the first thing that we clearly see is that it's important to get control of your tech stack. And I know, just looking into this company, but also in general within SaaS and other, that you're building and buying and purchasing a lot of different tools, and it's all about how can you utilize the tools and use the information on all of the tools to get the most out of it. Yeah. So you can basically have one tool for all of your documents and manage them directly in the CRM.
And I think this is a process that is ongoing within any company today. You want to limit the number of platforms you're using. You want to have, in best case scenarios, you want to have one platform for everything. In most cases, that's not possible, and that's why we're working so intensively with the integrations, because we know that Salesforce is the overall, most used CRM system today. But they are not the best ones on e-signing or sales enablement and so on. And that's why we're trying to integrate this as seamless as possible.
Exactly. So you can really, as Adam said, get e-signature, document tracking, video, live chat directly in your Salesforce environment, making it easy for all the reps to quickly send all of your documents and then get the data directly back in documents into Salesforce in order to, of course, maximize your sales. Populate and use data from Salesforce, as Adam described, both in terms of all of the recipients, internal users, the different types of data variables. So really use information from Salesforce to the document. And it's very easy to install directly in the AppExchange.
Yeah.
Cool. So then we come to pricing, and again, it's easy to install directly in the AppExchange. The integration costs €5 per user and month. And if you are an existing customer, then you can just speak to your closest customer success manager, reach out to them, say that you're interested, and we'll help you to move forward. And if you're a new customer or you'd like to see more about GetAccept or the Salesforce integration, then you can either visit getaccept.com. You can simply click and book a demo, or you can go to AppExchange in Salesforce and look for more information there as well. But strongly recommended to book a demo on the website, and then we will help you.
And especially if you have, you have a custom flow, you have questions about your customized environment, you want to fetch variables from certain objects, it might be good to actually book a demo, because sometimes we can't support, a certain type of objects and so on. So to make sure that you can utilize the process that you want to use and so on, it's super good. But it's also super good to get a demo. Maybe if you have in some cases we've seen us helping out with automating a process, or just giving feedback and information on how to create the best possible sales process when integrating with the GetAccept, for example.
Exactly. Great. So let's see if we have some questions. Have you recorded the demo? If so, can you share it? It should be recorded, and we hope so.
Yeah, it's automatically recorded. So yes, we will. I don't know how it will be sent out, but I think if you want access to the demo afterwards, of course, we can share it with you. Explain why the view is a bit different than normal. As a demo. Yeah, okay. The slides we showed you was from our development environment, so it's a bit different, but it also, it might differ from the different clients. Platform, or sorry, I lost the word. Environments. So, but the integration, as you saw it on the page, will look like that, no matter in which environment it's installed.
We have a question from Gilbert on top, I think.
Oh, yes, Salesforce Enterprise is necessary, and that's mainly because in order to be able to fetch status updates, it's actually possible to install on Professional also, but we do not recommend it, since it's not, you not get the signed documents uploaded automatically, because they are dependent on the webhooks working with the status updates. So and to be able to have that, you have to have the Enterprise edition of Salesforce. Do we have something more? That's old.
Do we have any more questions?
No more questions.
We'll wait just a bit. Maybe someone is thinking of something really sharp here.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I can, while we're waiting, I can say, we have a lot of plans for GetAccept moving forward. We have, we're going to work a lot with the platform, and especially making it easier to use for sales enablement. And of course, some of these features will also be reflected on the integration. Not all of them. It's impossible to have all the features available in the standalone application in all integrations, but we will, of course, add more updates to the platform as we move forward. And especially now, it's a new integration now for Salesforce. We will get a lot of feedback from our clients. We've already gotten feedback, on things. Yeah, we would love to have this opportunity or this possibility, for example, in the integration. So, and we will update and perfect the integration as we move forward, of course. Yeah.
No more questions? Doesn't seem like that. So hopefully you got all of your questions covered during the demo and the presentation.
Yeah, I think a lot of clients, and especially, they will have pretty specific questions related to their environment. So, and it's of course good if you take them with your CS manager, for example, or if you're not a client already, you can of course book a demo with us.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're an existing customer and you like to learn more, just talk to your closest customer success manager, or you can then, if you're interested in learning more about GetAccept, you can visit their website and book a demo, and we will describe you more about that. Great. So if we don't have any more questions, then I guess we will call it for the day.
Yeah, we're a bit shorter time than so you will have time for
to close some deals.
Yes, close some more deals.
Exactly. So thank you all for listening, and looking forward to talking to you more about Salesforce, and also, Adam talking more about the vision with the product, which looks very, very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.